Hello. I see some people joining. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to be painting the hair. Changing the skin color a little bit. Putting in some eye color. Cleaning up this facial bit a little bit. Giving some detail. So this is going to be a fun one. Some of my paints out here. You're welcome to talk to me. I can see everything. This is kind of new for me, so be gentle. Let's see. The customer wants red hair, and as a natural redhead, I got that covered. And blue eyes. Let's see, where's the white? So we're definitely going to be careful to add in just hints of this and that to make it as realistic as possible. I'm a realistic painter as opposed to a I say cartoony painter, but that's not really the word. Comic painter. A lot of people use those thick black lines. I'm not really into that. I prefer to do realistic paint because that's just the way my brain works. I am autistic, but honestly, I feel that just gives me an edge in my creativity because I can be more realistic. So things that I have here, I have 2 different paintbrushes that I use for tiny tinies. So as you can see, it's very, very little brush. Very, very little brush. If you're not sure when you're buying brushes, I actually say buy nail brushes. The ones for tiny, tiny details. They are super helpful for tiny, tiny details. And they become kind of an extension of your hand. For slightly larger areas, I have this guy. I have a couple that are larger for larger pieces, but this one being kind of small, I don't need anything really bigger than that, especially since I've already got the base down. And like I said, I gotta get my depth perception going on here. Like I said, we're going to be doing the hair, is the primary goal today. And my prep station is, I'll kind of move you around a little so you can see what I've got going on. So I've got my 3 main brushes, 2 teeny tinies, and 1 slightly larger. And again, this pink one is actually a nail brush, and I find it incredibly useful for dotting tiny little spots. And don't worry about the separation of the bristles. I will take care of that before I actually apply paint to it. Over here I have my palette. I put base colors in each one of the little pots, and then I will blend them in the next one over, or if it's a large amount of color, I'll use the centerpiece. These are great. They're super duper cheap. I got a stack of them on, I think, Amazon or something for almost nothing. I think I paid like $5 for a whole gigantic stack of them. This is my water, and You'll see that art runs in my family. My grandmother actually made and painted this ceramic cup. And you can also see that I've used it for paint before because there's a little bit of dribble drabble. I am currently in love with the Game Master paints. Gosh, by Army. They're Army paints. And I'll show you what I love about them. They're really nice. But I also, you may have seen, have Q-tips. Sometimes you screw up. And when you screw up, if you get it fast enough with a Q-tip, gone. Oop. So don't hesitate to mess up. And yes, I have a ring light so that I can see better. And this is again, this is new to me doing this on live. So be gentle, but come on in, say hi. Hopefully you can say hi. I'm just hoping you can even hear me. Can anybody just give me one like so that I know that you can hear me? One like. Anybody? Can you hear me? Well, that's not encouraging. Let me see if I can get... See if I can get some people in here who might be able to tell me if I'm on here. I don't know you. I'd really like to just know that I am being heard. I'm not super worried if, you know, if you're not enjoying the information, that's fine. I'm not super duper worried about that. Because this isn't for everybody, you know? But I just want to make sure that I'm being heard. Hey, Quixie. Hey, are you able to hear me? I just want to make sure that my voice is getting through. If not, I'll put my earbuds in. Beautiful. So, I'm painting a mini. You're welcome to stay and chat with me or watch me and figure out what the hell is wrong with me. Good luck with that. I just kind of did a show and tell of what's going on with my painting station. Okay. So I've got 3 teeny tiny brushes. One of them's a nail brush. I've got my paints, my mini, which is started, Q-tips for when I screw up, my water mug, which is actually painted and made by my grandmother who recently passed. Don't worry, I don't miss her, but she was an excellent artist, and that is the one good thing I got from her. And my palette, which I use to mix my paints. So, if it wobbles a little, it's because I am literally moving the camera. Doo-ba-doo. This guy, her name is Princess Bitch. I didn't name her, just so you know. It is a plastic mini. I have painted the majority of her so far. It's a D&D mini that was printed with a 3D printer, and somebody wanted me to paint her. So I'm painting her to give her, she had bunny slippers, or she had slippers, but I turned them into bunny slippers using some Citadel Technical Valhalla Blizzard. It's basically snow paint. It's textured and it builds beautifully. So I turned them into little bunnies. And she's wearing a robe and everything. And yeah, it's just a teeny tiny little mini, as you can see from the size of my thumb. And I actually have pretty small hands, even if they're fat. So that's what I am painting. It's maybe an inch and a quarter high. But I'm going to be painting her hair, cleaning up that face and giving her eye color. Thank you. And then cleaning up any, like, these spots on the rug that you know, because paint splashes, and I'm not going to worry too much about what happens in the middle, as long as the end result comes out pretty good. Holy cow, I've got a lot of people. Welcome, everybody. So anyway, this is what I'm painting. I'm going to go ahead and start mixing some paints. Oh, thank you for the follow. Cigarette burns. I would, but she's actually supposed to be royalty, so I would not dare insult her such a way. This is a D&D character that a friend plays, and this is her when she wakes up in the morning, I guess. She has her coffee and I guess puts on her bunny slippers. I am gonna get some, I have lots and lots of little sparkly things and whatnot, and I'm going to make her a little crown that can be attached or taken off. I don't know that I'll get to that in this live because I don't know how long I'll be on live, but it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have fun with this character. Sometimes I get to do more silly things, more fun things, and sometimes I do more like creepy, weird things. It just depends on what people want or what I'm in the mood for, depending on if I'm doing it for myself or someone else. There's lots of different factors that go into what I'm doing at any given moment. Sorry for the shaking. I'm literally propping this up with a selfie stick and my body. So so let's see. And believe it or not, it takes a lot of colors to do red hair, because that's what the color they want, and I have naturally red hair, so they're gonna get really realistic colors because that's just my forte. I prefer realistic over non-realistic. And so these paints are water-based acrylic, just to give you an idea of what we're starting with here. And this is kind of cool because it's making everything bigger for me. So one thing, when using these kind of paints, because they are already mixed, sort of, you have to shake them, but they don't always shake super well. So see how it's kind of multicolored here? That's actually okay for what I'm doing. I am okay with this because it saves me some of the trouble. But you kind of want to go dark to light. But you can also add in shadows later. It's not a big deal. The great thing about acrylic is because of the way it layers, you can literally do it in any direction you really want to. But I find that going dark to light, I have more control. So that's my preference. Let me just scoot this over so that I can see a little bit better here. All right. So you're going to see a lot of my hands. Sorry. I'm going to start with a base of straight up red. Now, I've found that the Army Painter is actually pretty thin. It doesn't need to be watered down like Citadel. Citadel paints tend to be really thick, and you have to water them down immensely just to get anywhere near what you're trying to get. Oh, this is going to be a fun experiment, guys. Painting through a camera lens. Ooh, that's really thick. Okay. It's okay. And because they're water-based, I can always add more water, even afterward, and clean it up. And that's also what the Q-tips are for. If it pools somewhere, I can just dab it and it'll come right off. We may have to find a different way to do this, because painting through the camera is one of those things that seems like a good idea until you do it. Because it's throwing off what little I have of hand-eye coordination. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I have an essential tremor. And that's one of the things about painting that I like, is that it's very forgiving. It's a very forgiving medium. Yep, we're going to have to figure out a different way to do this. Hold on. I definitely want y'all to be able to see what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, but just going to have to figure out a different way to make it happen. That's all. Let's try flipping things around a little bit. I wish I had a more sustainable way to do this with my tiny area, but I am in a bit of a weird pickle life-wise, so I'm just doing the best I can with what I have. That is my ring light. That is not supposed to be there. Okay. You won't be able to see quite as closely, but if I can just get this thing to stay standing, you'll at least be able to watch what I'm doing. Oop. Stay in the stand, stay in the stand. Oh, lost a few people, probably because I'm moving stuff around instead of actually painting. Sorry, guys. I know this is a giant mess. But like I said, this is my first time trying to do this live. And it's not as easy as I thought it would be. Oof, sorry about that noise. Oof. I wonder if there's a way to weight this down. I'm trying to figure out how to weight down my stand so that I can still read your comments. And you can still see what I'm doing. Pardon all the weirdness going on, guys. I'm trying to figure out a way to get my stand to stay upright, because my phone is really heavy apparently. Well, I have another idea. Yeah, and this is literally my first live trying to do this, so it's gonna be tricky the first time. It just is. Do. And apparently do is a stem for me. I didn't know that. I learn new things about myself every day. Where did I have this before that it wasn't a trouble? Good Lord. Okay. I'm gonna make this work, guys. I am. I would just put you guys inside the ring light, but that has not been a very good thing in the past. Let's see if I can. Thank you for the likes. I know it was you, Quixie. Alright. This isn't exactly how I like it, but... that looks so weird. Okay. Alright, this way I can kind of turn my head and see what's really happening. And you can see what's happening too. If I could stop knocking things over, that'd be even better. Alright, where did my paintbrush go? Quixie, where's my paintbrush? Oh, there it is. Thank you. Yes, I know you're a sass monster. It's okay. I'll forgive you. because I'm a sass monster too. And the one thing I do that a lot of people don't do is I just put paper towels straight down, because then I can just literally wipe my paintbrush off wherever I feel like it. All right. I am no longer painting through the lens, but you can see while I can see. And that is kind of the point, right? Now we don't want it thick, but we want it pigmented. So it usually takes several layers. Like lots of layers. And the more watered down it is, the less pigmented it is and the less it sticks. So we try not to water down an already watered down paint unless we absolutely need to, because it won't stick as well, even with a decent base. And I did base this with gray. You know, I found my brush leaning against my vape, so now I'm just hoping that when I go to take a puff later, it's not painty. This looks a lot more pigmented on camera than it does in real life. I had this friend, his name was Michael, but I never called him that. I called him Spoon. And a few years back, I had nothing better to do, so I was hanging out with him, and I just decided to pick up a paintbrush. And I had never painted anything before, ever. And I picked up an orc that he had laying around, and that was the first thing I ever painted. I have pictures of it. Thank you. My second thing that I painted was a green dragon. But Spoon taught me to paint. And I say that, but he would say, he just gave me pointers because I already had the talent. Which he was an excellent painter. And I keep saying was, he passed away a little over a year ago. His birthday was last weekend. And he was one of my best friends. He had a lot of medical issues. A lot. But he was a wonderful human being. He was the kind of person that could say something so offensive that, taken from anyone else, everyone in the room would be angry. But when he said it, you could not help but just find it funny. It didn't matter what it was, because he didn't mean it. And everyone knew that. He was just that kind of person. He is it took me a while before I could pick up a paintbrush again. I will say that. Because it just reminded me too much of how much I missed my friend. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. I'm hoping to do for others what he did for me, which is inspire or maybe just give tips or hang out and just chit chat, because that's just what he was like. You know, he was just that kind of guy. We would go every day or every other day. I'm sorry it keeps going out of focus, guys. To a gaming store a couple towns over and just paint together on whatever we each had to paint. I actually painted a thing for him. He played Warhammer 40K. I get way too competitive in games, so I don't play, but I love to paint them. So, he let me paint his demon prince that he had kit bashed from multiple things, and that was a huge honor because he was so good, and his style was very different from mine. He was more comic book, and I am more realism. I definitely prefer realism. And so he would have the dark lines between everything and all that stuff. Not me. I don't like the dark lines on my stuff. I like it on other people's work. It's just not it's not the style that I choose to paint. But whenever he would use his demon prince on the field of battle, he would make sure it was the one that I painted. And that meant so much to me. I have pictures of that as well. Unfortunately, it was not found among his stuff, so it's possible that he traded it, because that's how he lived, was by trading and selling things. So it's possible some other random person has that somewhere. I'm doing a very thin layer of orange now. And it's okay if everything isn't perfect the first couple of layers. Like I said, it's a very forgiving medium. But I'm using this super tiny brush because I just want to give little hints of the color, as opposed to, well, it's much more pigmented on the screen than it is in real life, let me tell you. I wonder why that is. Must have a filter on somewhere. But I would tell you guys some of his jokes, but I don't have the gift of saying things that are inappropriate and having people just laugh. Unfortunately. And by inappropriate, I mean really inappropriate. Like, Like, I'd get bananaed. Guaranteed. Exactly. I would really like to be able to do this whenever I paint, you know? This may not be the best painting in the world, but it's mine. And I know that Spoon would be really proud of me. He would. Yeah, we would always go up to a couple of towns over, like I said. We'd go to a gaming store and we'd sit down and we'd paint because we knew the owner or we knew the manager or we knew somebody. And whenever somebody would open the door and you'd hear the little beep beep, he'd go, "Welcome to Moe's." I don't know if you've ever had Moe's, but it has a lot of cilantro in it. Like a lot of cilantro. And so I hadn't had it in years, but after he passed, a couple months after he passed, I ate Moe's in his honor. And I don't want anybody to be depressed about this. I genuinely am. Yeah, I'm sad that he's gone, but I am so proud to have known him and to have been taught by him, to have had him in my life. And I miss him. And I like talking about him because I haven't talked about him in a while. Because it has been so hard. But this is really nice. I'm really happy to be talking about him. So if anybody's feeling like I'm like being sad or depressing, please don't. Because I'm genuinely happy. He would be very happy with me. If anything, he'd be mad that I haven't been painting more, because he really wanted me to make a name for myself, get out there, do all the things, be the famous one out of us. He had a Patreon. He was actually really good at just sitting here and talking to himself. And apparently I have stolen that ability. Yes, thank you. And when all else fails, blame Spoon. It's already starting to look a little bit more natural. Oh. Hang on a second. My leg is cramping. So this is where we're at so far. This is 3 layers of paint on just the hair. And I'm not too worried about mistakes because it's very easy to clean up mistakes. Especially when you're layering them the way that I am. Really easy. Because I'm going to go back and do lights and shadows and things like that. And when I do those, it will naturally cover up a lot of this stuff. Let's see if I can do like that. Maybe. There we go. Oh, there we go. Can you see it okay? Beautiful. It's at a good angle for me too. Oh, that's a bit too much. Do you paint or anything, Quixie? I know you do witchy things and you do... Yeah? What kind of stuff do you paint? Oh wait, that was the answer to my last question. Sorry. That's fair. My children are grown, and so I don't have that issue. In fact, I didn't even start painting until I was over... I think I was 39 or 40. I'm not good at time. Time is not my friend. At all. I'm just waiting for... Yeah. I do that while I'm painting sometimes. Ah! That's my finger. So were you painting like on canvas, on paper, on minis? What kind of painting were you doing? Canvas? I gotta tell you, I'm trying to learn canvas. It is not my thing. I'm trying. But when you're used to acrylic, it's not an easy thing to switch to canvas, especially when you are as OCD about details as I am. Because I am very OCD about details. And acrylic, I have learned from... I have another friend, his name's Jay. He's on TikTok, and he is an amazing artist. And he also is more cartoonish slash comic booky slash spooky yuki. And I, again, am more into realism. And while he can do some realism, he likes acrylic for painting that kind of thing, like on canvas, because it comes out cartoony, and that's his aesthetic. And so I picked up acrylic and thought I could manipulate it the way that I do on these. Nope. No, ma'am. I'm going to pull a little bit of gold color through, very wet, because I want it extremely thin. See how it's kind of almost dripping back the paintbrush? I'm wiping off some of the excess. But I want a little bit of sparkle in the hair because sunlight naturally hits hair in certain spots. And some strands will just pop more than others. See? And don't worry that you don't feel that your paintings were good. Mine are terrible and people keep telling me how great they are, and I'm like, would you just stop? Like, you don't have to encourage me to keep going. You can just say, you know, for your level, these aren't bad, you know, or something like that, and that would be plenty of encouragement. But no, people are like, oh, these are so good, I want to hang them on my wall. Why? But my brothers really liked them. They were of them and their kids, so... I gave them to them for Christmas. Okay. I totally understand lacking depth. Again, the ones that I did were so freaking cartoony, even though they were based on actual people. And I hated them. But everybody else really liked them, so whatever. Oh, that's cool. Now I'm really curious. I'm thinking, what style was it be? Would it have been? What did she paint? I'm just, I'm just glad my cat's not up here drinking the water. Because she will do that. Luckily, the paints are non-toxic. Okay. Like anime cartoony, or comic book cartoony, or Disney cartoony. Okay. All right. So like an abstract surrealism type of thing. Nice. People are hard to do, even when they're plastic. Oh, okay. I'm trying to think of that guy's name. The artist. The cubist. And my brain is going, meh. I don't know. Any other time, I'd be like, oh, it's this guy. Nope. Brain says no. Yeah, that one. Pablo Picasso. See, it's like I know, but my brain just shuts off sometimes. Facts. So many facts. My daughter may be 18. But I am still her mommy and she is still my squishy. I had so many people in here earlier. Kind of sad. Oh well. So what are you making for dinner anyway? Oh, dude. That's it. I'm just moving in with you. Don't worry, I am kidding. Hi, cat. I would love to have some baked potatoes with chili. That sounds amazeballs. %90 vegetarian. Oh my god, have you heard about this new meat that they're doing that's not real? Synthetic meat. But it's actually synthetic meat and not a meat substitute. My phone made a noise. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you hear about the meat substitute or the new meat they're doing that's not a meat substitute but actually like non-meat meat? Corn? Is that what it's called? Is that like the brand name? I heard this one was made by the Microsoft dude, Bill Gates, and it just got approved by the FDA. Yeah, it's kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I have two views on this, okay? Just hear me out. On the one hand, it sounds disgusting. Not gonna lie. But on the other hand, Star Trek. We're that much closer to replicators. Think about it. I'm excited, actually. But I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it. I want to try it for the simple fact that I want to know if it's any good. You know? Alright, I'm gonna need some... This is fair, but we gotta start somewhere, you know? I need... Nope, that's black. I have so many different washes, it's not even funny. I'll let you guys look at her awesomeness while I'm looking for a wash here. There's just something missing in her hair color, and I'm trying to find that thing that'll make it what I want. That's a possibility. You imagine I would what? Feel like it was missing something, or? Oh, no, I do have a lot of brushes, but I'm looking for a wash. It's so there's multiple different types of paint. And unless you have to work with them, it's not something that you would necessarily know. So for this kind of paint, oh, I'm only going to be on for a few more minutes, but for this kind of painting, there are several different types of paint. So you've got your bases, which stick to the plastic a little bit. They're a little thicker. They are meant to be painted over. Like you don't want it to be your main color normally. Then you have your I call them mid coats, but that's the wrong term. Let's see, it's base. That's a base. That's a base. Well, then your layer paints. They call them layer paints. And that's just like the middle layer. So say if you were just going to paint one of each layer, you would have a base paint layer, a layer that's like your middle, and then a highlight color for just picking up extra light in certain areas. And then you have your technical paints, which is that's the kind of paint you would use to get the bunny slippers and the little details on the robe. That's all technical paint called Valhalla Blizzard by Citadel. So see, it's called technical paint. Let me show you what it looks like. It's kind of neat because it looks really wrong. See how it's all clumpy in the top? It's supposed to look like that. So when you paint with it and it dries, when you paint with it, you want to layer it into little chunks almost, and then let it dry in the shape that you like. There's also other technical paints, like this one dries kind of crackly and looks like dried mud or dried clay. But there's also dry brushing. Dry brushing is a type of brushwork that, yeah, I know, right? So for dry brushing, most paint is what you think of, but dry paint is literally like, it's upside down. It ain't coming out. It didn't even move. You just tippity tap your, basically, yeah. But you just kind of tap the tip of your brush, and you would use more like this kind of thicker edged brush, and you would just tap tap, just tap tap, and then you would wipe off the excess, and then you would gently go over the edges like that. Obviously there's nothing on this brush, but it would give you a little bit of highlight on just the ridges that are raised. So that's what I call highlighting. It's dry brushing. There's also glazes, which are shiny. They are very specific. I don't know how to explain glazes other than they're good for certain things. This is my favorite. This is my favorite technical. It looks like blood. You can even drip it. See, look. It's drippy. This is one of my favorite paints in the world, Blood for the Blood God. That one and the Valhalla are my two favorite technical paints because I'm really just feel connected to them. Now, there's two types of what I call washes. There's a contour. I've thought about it. I just don't know if anybody'd care, but maybe. There's contrast paint. This is kind of like what is it when you do your hair in the multiple colors? Ombre. It's kind of like this would allow you to do an ombre. With different colors. So this one's gray. I've got a red. I've got actual black. So you can contrast and give it more depth without destroying the original color. So it's very thin, but it's not quite wash thin. So let me show you. This is actually why I wanted to do lives, was so that people could come in and learn about different things, ask questions. I love doing this kind of stuff. I wanted to be a teacher, and this is a passion of mine. So if you look in there, see how it's runny, but not super runny. And so this one actually needs to be watered down a little bit because it's a little bit old. Hey. So yeah, it's good for a mid-wash, but then an actual wash is practically water. That sounded really gross. But these are used for shadows. So say I had done her to be a strawberry blonde, and I just wanted to give her a little bit of red highlight or a little red undertone. I could fill the little lines with this to give it that little bit of a red shadow. So, oh, thank you. I know I have a friend that wants me to do tutorial stuff, but I just don't know what to do. Like, unless somebody's asked me a question that sets me on one of these tangents, it's really hard for me to think of what to say, you know? But yeah, so this is a wash. This one, these are kind of like a wash, but a little bit thicker, so that they can be like a thin coat. Ha 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 ha, you're adorable. Scratch. I don't even know what I would do from scratch. I just kind of grab shit and start going. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do, is just grab shit and start going. At least that's how it seems to me. Maybe if I talked through it, it might be different. I don't know. Yeah. I'm actually really excited about how this is coming out, though. The red is not nearly as bright in real life. I'm gonna have to probably either sand down the hands a little bit and that face, or I don't know. It was a really poorly printed piece, but it's not mine, so meh, meh, meh. I gotta find I actually have a camera, like a video camera around here somewhere, and I have the programs that Spoon used to use. I really should just do that. How do you sand something that tiny? That's there are tools for that. There's also like super fine grit sandpaper that can be done wet or dry, depending on if you're polishing or sanding. And you can always, if need be, attach just a little piece to the end of a also, when sanding isn't the option, this is. Yeah, buddy. So green stuff is sculpting putty, but we call it green stuff. I don't know. It's called green stuff. It's an epoxy. See, look, green stuff. That's what we call it. But I have literally made weapons out of this. I made a whole ass weapon out of it. I've used jewelry stuff. I've used just so many different random things to kit bash things. Well, I mean, I sculpt little things and odds and ends, but I wouldn't call myself a sculptor. It's just little pieces that I add in. I used to do pottery long time ago in high school. My mom still has the barn I made and the teapot that I made. I am really proud of the teapot, not gonna lie. But I can't do clay, it's just too messy. But the sculpting putty, I can do a lot with this. And like sanding, I could literally rebuild the face. I could cut the entire face out and build a new one if I needed to. It is a really ugly face. That is so fucking ugly. Pardon my French. So I might build on something else. That's supposed to be an ear. Like, I don't even know what's going on with this in some of the spots. And her hand is ridiculously huge. Although it is a dude playing it, so I don't know. I am really happy with the bunnies. They look like the Walmart special, man. Right there. See it? Up in the hair? That's supposed to be an ear. I didn't make it. Anyway, I have to go. Thank you for coming. I'll message you. Maybe you can help me figure out what I want to do. And I'll also message my friend who wanted me to do these anyway. Get out the green stuff. Fix the ears. All right. Thanks for coming in. Bye.